Got these TY bits in primer now, and I've put a guide coat on them, so they've had a couple of coats of high build primer. This is the high build primer that I used, a Roberlo, so it's just a 2K primer. This is the hardener for it. And I've put a guide coat on there. So the guide coat is the black aerosol. Just give it a light dusting. And when you rub them down, once that the black aerosol has gone, you know that you've took it down enough, ready for the paint. So I generally knock that down with something like a 240 or 500, depending on how I'm doing it, whether I'm doing it by hand or on a DA. And then I finish off with like an 800 wet flat before I get it into paint. I have started using 1000 grade recently on some stuff. I like to just mix it up a bit how I do things and see what results I get. So that's the frame painted on the bike now, and I was going to chop down the next bit into separate video, but I've decided I'm going to bash on and I'm going to get this bike finished. So we're going to get straight in and do the paintwork now. We're going to get that tank done, the seat unit and the other little bits that are there to go on the bike. So the other little bits include this tiny side panel and this exhaust guard. So I've got a couple of decals to make. I've got, I've got two to go on the tank. I've got one to go on here and one to go on here. So I've got my own system where I can make my own decals just to speed the job up. I'll get them made in between coats on these bits. So I'm going to get the white on first on the tank, let that go off, and then we'll get the yellow on everything, put the decals on, and then we'll get it all in lacquer. Before we get those bits in the first coat of paint, we've got to get them all prepped up. So we've got a guide coat on here. That's why they've got this black dusting of aerosol on them, and I'll show you what that's for just now. So as you can see, the guide coat is exactly what it says. It's a guide to rubbing down that paint. So you can see just how much primer is left on the tank and how much you've got rubbed off. Otherwise, you won't really see. So we're going to carry on a bit more, get that off, guide coat it again, and then I'm going to go over it with some 1000 grade wet flat. That's them all rubbed down in 400 grade now. So I've got another guide coat on them, as you can see. And next I'm going to give them a rub down with some 1000 grade wet and flat. So I like to fold it over 3 times. Some water. And just go over in circles until you get that guide coat gone again. Yes, you can see there's 2 different shades of primer on here. I actually tinted a primer for a job I've just done, just to make it easier for me to prep that job up. We've got these all prepped up in 1000 grade. It's time to get the white on the tank. So we're going to need a spray gun. Not sure which spray gun I'm going to use on this one. So this is my primer gun. This is a gun, it's just a cheap gun. And I bought this mainly for just actually white. In fact, I think it's only white that goes through this gun. Last job I did with this, it was just a straight 2K. I think I did a full respray on a car with this, an old car. Cheap gun, but they're pretty good. I used one of these as my main gun for quite a while, to be honest. That's just a touch-up gun. It's a replica Devil Bliss GTI, so it actually needs a clean. It's not a proper one, it's one of these ones from China, although it is absolutely fantastic quality. Good gun. I think what I'm going to go for is, I am just going to use my trusty LS. I'm going to give it a wash out. I'll run some thinners through it first. So every time I've done a job, the gun is washed in this gun wash machine. But with it being recycled thinners running through there, there is a chance that there is a bit of thinners left in this gun with some metallics in. There could be like a bit of sort of metallic in there somewhere. With it being recycled thinners, it's not really fresh thinners, it only gets changed every so often, but it does clean the guns still really well. You won't really notice anything on any job you do unless you're going on to a solid colour. You could possibly, there is a chance there might be metallic in it, depending on when the last time was that you changed the thinners in the gun washing machine. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to blow a bit of fresh thinners through this, just to make sure if there is any bits of metallic hanging around in that gun, it'll just blow it out. So as you'll see, I've got this paint from RS Paints. It's already mixed, it's already thinned down. I've given it a good shake up, and I'm just going to put some of this in the gun now. And I'm putting it through a filter there. I'm not really going to need much of this. So that's the final coat of paint on there now, the yellow, so that's a competition yellow. I've just got the colour to put on the white tank now, the yellow to go on the white tank, so that'll be to mask off. And then once I've got that on, the decals can go on, there's a black line to go on the tank, and then they can all be lacquered. So the next stage of this paint job's going to be getting done tomorrow now. I need to leave that tank to cure slightly overnight. But before I lock up, I just want to show you my next job. So this is my next paint job. Well, it's my next motorcycle race replica makeover anyway. So it's currently in the Pepsi colours. It's an RGV 250 and it's going to be getting painted in something else very special very soon. So if you've not subscribed to the channel and you want to see what I'm going to do with this bike, just hit the subscribe button now. Should be a good one, shouldn't it? Right, I'm going to turn everything off and get locked up, and I'll see you shortly.